You know how we get down. Yeah, the way we gon' work it out.
I am Pastor Julius, and this is my lovely wife,
Lady Ashanti.
and we got some really good information that we want to share with you guys called Let's Make Marriage Great Again. A discussion is called Let's Make Marriage
Y'all, we
Great
back.
Again. A discussion is called
We back, man, and I am excited about this continuation. MMGA, by the way, Make Marriage Great Again.
Why do I always gotta do a silly face? Like whenever it's like
know.
weird.
Another episode, another opportunity, you know.
Why did you just ignore what I said?
I mean, it wasn't of the major importance, so I just figured I'd just move forward. Listen,
What?
I still love you and everything,
touch
babe.
my jacket.
See, now that's not no way to be. That right there was just,
No, I was saying don't touch my jacket because
Why?
it's swishy.
oh,
And
my
I don't
bad.
want it
You want to
pick
mess up
on
the mic?
microphone.
Okay. That makes sense. We back, y'all, and we about to continue this conversation that y'all was logged in for that last time.
And it was what?
That last one was good, wasn't it?
Well, what was it?
The pitfalls of potential.
You got a little, come here.
What's that?
A little lint on your lip.
It was a booger?
No. If it was a booger, I would have told you it was a lint.
Oh, okay.
Piece of lint
You
on your
wouldn't have
lip.
got it for me if it was a booger?
I know, I would have told you you had one.
And you was expecting me to get it?
I mean, it depends on how far up in there it is. I ain't about to dig up in there.
Okay, I got you.
But I mean, would you wipe a booger off of my nose?
I would if it needed to be wiped off. Yeah.
That's real love.
That's real love,
To
man.
wipe off somebody's boogers.
That's intimate.
Ooh,
That's another level of intimacy.
it is.
You
'Cause
know?
now that I think about it, I don't know if I can wipe your bugs, man.
That's another level of intimacy. When you talk about intimacy, we think about, emotional connections.
Nah, Negro, can you wipe your wife's
Can you wipe my booger?
Woo-hoo!
Will you get my booger for me? That's intimate, ain't it?
David's like, nah. That is, would you be able to wipe my butt?
If I had to, I would. It wouldn't be nothing I would want to do or none of that. But if I had to, I would.
Lord, I would wipe yours too.
You would?
Yes, I would. I think about the marriage vow.
Oh, Lord. For better or for
There was
worse?
sickness and in health.
Oh,
and I
Lord
would, if I had
God.
to wipe your butt cheeks.
Oh, not the cheeks.
And I don't think people be thinking about that when they get not the cheeks. I don't think people think about that when they standing there at the altar.
A lot of the times, no. The vows aren't necessarily always considered. It's everything that has taken place leading up to that moment that I feel like is what people consider when they get married.
Marriage is just
You talking about them
starting.
vows,
When you say I do, that roller coaster is just on the uptick.
for better, for worse.
You have some couples who have endured a lot of stuff together prior to getting married, but when you say I do, I would wipe your cheeks, man. If I had to, I would.
Lord Jesus.
That's some heavy stuff. No, that's how do you make marriage great again? By wiping the cheeks.
Make marriage great again, y'all. We're trying to make marriage great again.
Yo, David is sitting over there like, bruh,
this is
ain't
crazy.
no way.
No, these are the things that people don't talk about, though.
They do not
We
talk
get
about
there, everybody want to talk real deep about all of the deep, what about the simple
Are you
things
going
in
to
marriage?
wipe somebody's cheeks?
Yeah, if something go wrong,
Something go wrong, are you there to wipe?
that
Are
is
you there
a
to
real
carry
question.
them to the bathroom or empty out their
Colostomy bag.
Ooh,
Those is real questions. We think about the love and the dove.
the what?
The love and the dove. What happens when it ain't lovey-dovey?
Or what happens when
Oh, God, Jesus.
he can't get it up no more? Ain't no more sex.
Oh, that's a whole nother conversation. I don't
Think
even.
about it. Somebody wheelchair bound and that don't work no more.
See, that's a whole nother conversation. I don't even want to go down that
We
road.
part two of this potential.
Pitfalls of potential,
And see,
y'all.
but what happens with that potential is you can see that's what happens. You see flashes of it and you marry it and now you ain't getting your crack wiped. That's the end of the podcast. We done. That was it.
Lord Jesus. Y'all, so last time we were talking about the pitfalls of potential.
We did.
We were talking about how there could be potential danger in making the decision to have a life partner.
Yeah, based off of
Potential alone.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like as we dive into it even a little deeper on this one, had a little bit of time to think about that. It's difficult for potential not to play a part in your decision.
For sure. I mean, no, it absolutely should play a part.
You know what I'm saying? Because I looked at the definition of potential. It is existing in possibility, capable of development into actuality. You see what I'm saying? Capable. And I think about like in business, when you're, going for certain projects or contracts or whatever, you got to give them a capability statement.
Yeah, like what are you capable of doing?
You got to let them know. And basically, that's your potential.
Right. Like
They're
if we needed you, what could you do?
Correct.
I could do all of this.
And so they're saying, give me a rundown of what your potential is. Because that's basically a capability statement, because it says here that potential is capable of development into actuality.
I think the difference is, and you're 100% correct when it comes to business, but if you lie on that capability statement and they pull you to do a job that you said you was capable of doing, and you just basically lied just to get the job.
But watch this. You might not have lied. You're just not practicing what you're saying you're capable of.
No, if you've never, no. If you've never done it, don't tell me you know how to do drywall.
So what about
your capability? If you've never laid drywall before.
But if you have. So remember when we were doing the final cleanups on all of those LA Fitnesses?
Yeah.
So our reality is that we did have a crew. So what if we only did a final cleanup years prior? That wasn't our practice.
It wasn't our practice.
Up to the point to where now I'm wanting to do this again, but I haven't been practicing this, but I have done it before.
Yeah.
So I haven't been practicing it, but I am capable of it. So then they like, okay, cool. And then now I go to try to rally up the troops and they're not available. We can't get we can't do it.
Then you're not capable. You've just done it before.
Okay, so translate that into
for me,
relationships.
Capability is twofold. I can do it, and I do it. So it's like I'm capable of doing a cartwheel. Why? Because I have done a cartwheel, and I'm physically fit enough I do cartwheels often.
So it's almost like have done it and have the skill set to do it again. Because it's almost like,
and I do it often.
Well, no, because it's like I'm capable of killing me a nigga. I'm capable.
I disagree, and here's why I disagree. Because the decision that you would have to make internally and who you are, like it would be a lot of variables, like your wife or your children, in order for you to go through with that.
So I think you just tapped into something then. So basically it's more than skill set and having or have not done it before.
It's decision.
There's a mental piece
Absolutely.
into this.
Absolutely.
And so we're talking about relationships.
Correct.
So this sister is cold, college educated, everything a man wants in a woman.
Yeah.
But she's also tremendously selfish. And so it's going to take an internal decision on her part to be really what he wants, even though she has the potential. She has to make the decision to act upon that potential.
To not be selfish.
Right.
And what happens is that he will see glimpses of her not being selfish and could marry that.
Yep.
And then when they get married, she crazy selfish.
Crazy selfish. She reverts right back to...
Because was she capable of not being selfish?
Yes.
Yes.
Was she willing to make the decision?
No.
No. And that is everything right there.
I think that's what hurts, though. I think what hurts a lot of the time in relationships is when people make the decision not to.
Well, yeah.
Because you are more they're capable. When I was dating you, I married you based off of who you were and your potential.
What about my practice?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I married you for both and.
And so what I'm saying is the practice piece in this whole
But
thing.
what you were practicing and then your potential for me were in two different categories.
Well, no. What I could potentially be was up here. What I was practicing was in alignment with this. I just hadn't got here yet.
I don't mean from that type of.
What do you mean?
Like when we were dating, you were practicing like you were a gentleman.
Okay.
Like always called me, always text me, always wanted to make sure I was good, making sure I would get to my destination safe. Like you were consistent. You were practicing that for a year.
Okay.
For me, that also was potential as a husband, how you would be. And for me, like that's the stuff that people like. You should be looking at those things. I'm looking at what you're practicing, and then that also fed into, as a husband, how you could potentially be as a husband. And on the flip side of that coin, when there was like other things that would happen, or obviously you get upset on how you dealt with things, I have to ask myself or tell myself that he could potentially be this as a husband.
So basically, this internal voice we're saying, this decision to do it is you're only able to, I think, like have trust that they're going to make the decision to operate according to their potential based upon what they're practicing consistently.
I mean, yeah, when you read the Bible every day, you would study for hours at the table. And I would look at you and I'm like, he has the potential to lead our family. Like that's how I was looking at that stuff. Like this is how you were going to be as potentially as a husband, because you were practicing it. It had nothing to do with, I mean, and then who you were in your core, like this grinder, this visionary, this like for me, that was not potential. That's who you were.
So I wasn't just saying, oh yeah, I love God, me and God cool. That's some of these cats like, oh man, me and God cool, we straight.
I got a relationship.
I'm spiritual.
No, Julius was so saved that if we slipped up and had sex, he'd be in the corner butt naked speaking in Hebrew.
Babe, that was TMI. That was too much information. That right there, that was unnecessary. I'm gonna tell you right now. That was unnecessary. Y'all, don't do that. Don't buy into that. I'm telling you, do not buy into that. That is.
He had the Greek and the Hebrew translation.
Don't buy into that, y'all. Don't buy into that, man. Don't buy into that stuff. I wanted to please the Lord. I did. I wanted to please God.
Okay.
I wanted to please God.
Sorry.
And you on the other hand.
It wasn't butt naked, but you did feel. You felt really, really bad.
I felt horrible.
Oh, you hated it.
And Ashanti was like, okay,
failing the Father.
you guys ready to go? You ready to go to church?
Like, come on, you want to go to brunch? Yeah.
And I'm like,
Bible study.
how can you talk about brunch after what we just got done doing?
And I would say stuff like, well, you're gonna be my husband anyway. I have no ring or nothing on my finger. But you was my husband, and the Lord was giving me a pass.
Lord Jesus, man. All right. Anyways, that messed me up. All right, y'all. We digress. So anyways.
But that fed into your potential too.
It did. It
Like,
did because
seriously,
you knew I loved the Lord.
Oh man.
And so you was like, oh, so
That
it's
is-
not going to be easy for him to just go out there and
That
just
was
do
your
whatever because he feels horrible.
Let
Like,
me tell you, I had a conversation before we got married with somebody, and she had asked me, was I ever concerned with you cheating? And I flat out told her no. I told her I was never concerned about it. And she was like, well, why? And I said, because I'm more concerned with how him letting the Lord down than I am me. But it was because of what I had seen you display. You know what I'm saying? For the whole year that we've dated. Like I saw how bad you felt by fornication. Let alone, like, I was never concerned about it. And then my spiritual mother at the time, she was like, that's why when you dated and you really marry a man who has his life submitted to Christ, like he made a vow before the Lord. And I think that for me, I knew the day that we got married, like you wasn't playing with Jesus. You took a vow before the Lord that you were going to basically uphold your end of the bargain with him first and then me.
So potential is what could be, right? So sometimes we make these decisions to get married or be in a relationship because we're loyal to what could be. And being loyal to what could be is not always bad.
No, I don't think so.
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we say, well, potential only means you ain't done nothing yet.
I know.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? If there's practice that's in alignment with that potential, it's still what could be, because you don't never know how something's gonna materialize.
Yeah.
But I think there's that chance to where like, nah, I could be loyal to what could be here because there are all of the ingredients there in order for this really to materialize into something special. It's kind of like, you know, an athlete, tremendously athletic, tremendously humble, has a crazy work ethic.
Oh, he's gonna get it.
You could probably bet on them materializing all those ingredients into something special.
So then what happens when the heads are hung low and they say things like, man, she had a lot of potential, or man, he had a lot of potential?
I mean, I could think it might be something that was cut short.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Maybe an early death. You hear a lot of that when people pass away. You know what I'm saying? Like they had a lot of potential and stuff like that. And I think the thing with potential is you can still make bad choices in the midst of a tremendous amount of potential.
You can, yeah.
We see it happen all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With people that could be tremendously successful in corporate America, entrepreneurship, politically, all of that stuff.
And then they get caught up in some bull crap and everybody's like, dang, they had so much potential.
Correct.
Meaning they hadn't accomplished yet what was inside of them.
Or they were showing flashes of brilliance and on their way, but on the way, during the journey, made a mistake that kind of clipped them.
So how do you, in dating or in relationships, leading up to marriage, how do you say, okay, this person is in process, right? And so I'm going to be with them while they're in the process of their potential versus, nah, I'm out of here because this is just potential with no practice.
Here's the reality, y'all. When it comes to dating, when it comes to marriage, the reality is it's a gamble. I'm just going to keep it all the way 100 with you. It's a gamble. It is a gamble. You can take a calculated risk when it comes to this marriage thing, or you can just take an arbitrary, haphazard risk, right?
I'd rather take the calculated risk.
Of course. But at the end of the day, even if I've shown you tremendous potential and I've shown you practice that lines up with my potential, you don't know what wild hair gonna grow up my butt one day, or I'll wake up and just decide to just do something goofy.
Wild hair.
Yeah. We don't know. I don't know what you might encounter one day that causes you to make some wild, crazy decision that's totally opposite of the practice and the potential that you displayed to me while we were dating.
Life, and it could be a trigger for somebody, and they can spiral out.
Spiral out of control.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It happens all of the time.
It does.
But you have to be willing to take that risk. You have to be willing to exercise that faith.
There's some faith in exercising relationships?
All kinds of faith. All kinds of faith. To say I do to those marriage vows, there's all kinds of faith attached to that. Now, whether or not if you decide to participate in the faith that you're expressing in that moment is yet to be determined.
That's a lot, man. You talking real heavy. You talking about faith and stuff, and having faith in the person that you saying. I'm looking at you, and I'm stepping out on faith that
you having faith in God and faith in this person. I'm having faith that God is leading me in the right direction by even doing this, And I'm gotta have faith in this person to make right choices pertaining to these vows that we just set up here and agreed to.
The issue that I've seen the most of, and I agree with you, the issue that I see right now, man, is that people be lying to themselves.
Yeah, because
people be lying. They know the person that is full of air quote potential, that person does not practice. That person is not in process. It is who that person is.
and so they're married to the idea of who that person could be, which means they just married potential.
Oh, God.
You didn't marry Paul,
You
sis.
married the idea of who Paul can
Yeah,
be.
you married the idea of who
And
Paul
then
could
when
be.
that person, that Paul doesn't come to flourishing, you're frustrated, you're upset. And Paul like, well, what did I do?
When you marry the idea of who Paul could be, Paul's reality is going to betray you. That's the reality.
Dun, dun, dun.
His reality is going to betray you. When you marry potential only, there is a chance that reality can betray you.
No, it is. And can you even call it a betrayal? Can you even call it a betrayal? Because it was there the whole time.
No.
It was exposing itself the whole time.
Maybe it wasn't. See, this is the I guess the danger in it.
No,
because
reality's always been there. You're just blinded.
Well, yeah,
You're blinded
potentially, yeah,
by potential. You're blinded by what you just said, your idea.
so potential will blind you of what they're not practicing, blind you from what they're not practicing.
Because Paul been Paulin.
Paul been Paulin. He just show you flashes of potential that you hold on to.
Because it lines up with your idea.
And you ignore
your desire.
what his practice is.
There it is. There it is. You ignore Paul and Paulina's practices because that little potential that they keep showing lines up with your idea of a person, of your person.
Of marriage, of what you want, of what you've always dreamed that marriage would be. Of maybe what your parents were. Oh, there's a whole nother situation right there. Your parents had a good marriage and you saw them.
Or your parents didn't have a marriage and you're fighting because you want it so bad. And so when Paul and Paulina come through and like the flash and they're showing you little flashes potentially of you breaking that.
Whoa. Potentially?
Potential.
We make up word. That's part of this, guys. We make stuff up as we go. Potentially. Yeah, potentially.
I wanted to add it in.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Potentially.
If you ever do that again in front of the people, I'll take your throat out your neck.
Watch this. The marriage wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Paul really been showing flashes of sister girl's dad, who was horrible. Right?
Yes.
He's been really practicing who her dad was. And this is why we got to be careful. We'll oftentimes marry what we've been conditioned in, what we saw. We got to be careful with that. She really been seeing him practice how her dad was. Her dad did not have good practices when it came to marriage. But he showed flashes of potentially not
See,
being
look
that
at
way.
You almost did it too.
I self-corrected. Glory be to God. Listen, he shows flashes of potentially not being who her dad was. So she marries those potential flashes. But really, he'd been practicing who her dad was the whole time.
And even for those who don't have dads, who maybe didn't have a father in the home or a father experience, man, sometimes, a lot of the times what I've learned about these humans is we will see flashes of ourselves in people, or our shortcomings in people, or the things that we want out of ourselves in people, and we'll marry that.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
And it's just like it's very sick and twisted. Like you'll be dating somebody and you know that you are not something or something that you would like to be, and you will marry that. And it's just like, go fulfill that in yourself first before you try to make. You know what I mean? It's odd.
I think we don't do a good job of putting filters on. So when I go
There's
look,
a whole bunch of filters on Instagram. What you talking about?
I'm talking about when I go and look for an Airbnb.
Because you know I love me a good bougie Airbnb.
There's certain
All the filters be on.
Now, what happens though is when I put those filters
It
on,
takes it down from 500 stays to 12.
and those 12 stays is crazy expensive.
Ooh, you got to pay to play.
They telling you got to pay $1,500 a night and all this crazy stuff.
But it's worth it.
And so then it could be, or you could assess your situation and be like, yeah, no, I can't afford $1,500 a night. So I need to start removing some of these criteria / standards / filters so that I can get me something that I can afford and be okay with it.
See, and this is really good because I believe that gets people in trouble.
It could.
Because you will begin to
take too many filters off. And you need to go on ahead and spend the money.
And you need to go ahead and be honest. Talking about, it's 6 of us. We be all right in a 2-bedroom. Now you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're uncomfortable because you didn't want to spend what needed to be spent in order to be comfortable.
Yeah.
You didn't want to do it. And so you tried to cut off, well, I don't need 4 bedrooms. You absolutely do.
And it's just, you're going looking for what you want. Like, y'all, it's okay to have certain potential that you want in a mate. It's okay to have preferences that you want in a mate.
And do not let loneliness and fear of being the 35 and up, crowd, not being married, having children yet, make you take those filters off.
But with those filters, you have to build in a way that could not necessarily, it's not foolproof.
Yeah, it's called practice. It's called dating someone who's practicing their potential.
So you got a preference.
Yeah.
They exhibit potential for that preference.
They have potential.
And then what is their practice? Are they practicing what you would prefer? Are they practicing their potential? Like, that's the key right there is practice. I had here, practice is the prerequisite to realizing the results of potential.
Period, point blank. Totally
Practice is the prerequisite to realizing the results. Prerequisite. Prerequisite, yes.
You're not pronouncing the Q.
Yeah. Well, it's like tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Practice is the prerequisite for realizing potential, y'all. They got to be actively pursuing this potential, these preferences. It has to be an active pursuit.
If it's their pursuit, then it is their practice.
Consistent.
Period, point blank. You cannot tell me. It's like dating. Don't tell me you want me if you're not pursuing me.
Don't tell me you love the Lord. You go to church once a year. Easter, you got one daily devotional that's brand new, and you had it for 4 years. Like, don't tell me that.
Man, I know so many real life stories where this has happened to people, and you see it, and you're like, that person that's not who they are.
Right.
That is not who they are. They are lying. That's flashes of maybe what they could be.
It could be that
if they made the decision and made this their practice, but that is not who they are.
Right. So y'all, practice is almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? The golden ticket, if you will.
It is.
When it comes to potential and preference.
Yeah.
You're looking for that practice. My men out there, you're looking for that practice. Is she practicing what you would prefer and what her potential is? She practicing that. My women out there, is he practicing
what you preaching?
Yeah.
Are you saying one thing and then doing something completely different? Then that would be a key indicator that potential is not being practiced. Yeah.
And so I think you guys got to really lean into that. Don't fall into the pitfalls of potential. Make sure that you're really paying attention to what's really happening out here, y'all, because we trying to help you.
We are, because y'all gonna mess around and get married, and Paul gonna be Paul, and Paulina gonna be Paulina, and y'all gonna be sitting there looking at the table going, what have I done?
What have I done? What have I done?
Married potential.
Married potential.
And you done missed out on your whole promise. Whole promise was on the other side.
Jesus. Y'all listen, man. This has been another great episode of MMGA.
What's it called?
MMGA.
There it is.
IG, follow us. It's called MMGA Podcast. Facebook, follow us. It's called Make Marriage Great Again Podcast. YouTube, follow and subscribe.
Hit the link right now. Just hit the little thumbs up.
Yeah.
And hit subscribe and then share this, John.
Yeah, Make Marriage Great Again Podcast on YouTube. We love y'all, man.
Peace, y'all.